Yo, what is up, everybody, and welcome to Nerd Enough. It's about time. This is episode 1. I am your host, Tony.
And I'm your host, Michael.
Guys, welcome to this podcast. This is a new podcast where we're going to be talking about everything nerd. I mean, I'm talking from comic books to movies, to games, to spooky movies. Anything that you could nerd out on, we're gonna talk about, and I'm excited to finally be doing this. How are you feeling, Michael?
I'm feeling great today. This has been something that we've talked about for a while. It has been like a passion project for me. Not necessarily nerd enough, but having a podcast talking about nerdy stuff. Just never been able to find that right person to do it with until hopped into a community and started talking to you about it. So I'm super stoked about it.
Okay.
Nice. You talk about it so much, like, it's been a dream and you've always wanted to do it, but how long ago has this happened? How long were you looking to do a podcast? It just doesn't randomly come up.
Well, I have been wanting this dream for a long time. In fact, right before the episode, I was looking through my notes, and I found something from 2015. A note that me and my friends were gonna be. I mean, this is a long time ago. 2015. Right. What was that? What was coming out during that time? Civil War, I think.
Holy moly!
I think, that I have been wanting to do this Nerd Enough podcast for a very long time with different groups of friends, different people. I ended up wanting to do it by myself. And I guess, okay, before I go any forward with the story of, how Nerd Enough came to be about, let me just say this first episode is going to be more about introducing ourselves as individual people. So you'll get to know a little bit about me, a little bit about Michael. And by the way, if I call him Tux, it's because that's how I met him, as a username, Super Tux. So you might hear me say Tux, you might hear him say TC, and we'll explain why. With that being said, I'll start off with, how long have I been wanting to do this podcast, where I was saying 2015. I mean, I don't even know if that was the beginning of it, but I remember wanting to do something, whether it was a YouTube channel, and podcasts weren't even very popular. I mean, they were starting to become popular, but it wasn't something that like nowadays everyone's recommending podcasts. Everyone and their mom is starting a podcast, and back then, I feel like if I would have started back then, it would have been really cool. But I'm not here to say like, oh, what if? I think everything happens in perfect timing. And the reason why I didn't just do it by myself was because I feel that when you go into a podcast or a YouTube channel and you listen to someone who has only one opinion about something, like, for example, I mean, you could say something like, you know what? And this is a true opinion of mine. I don't think that Batman v Superman was all that bad. I actually enjoyed it, and I think it had potential. Anyway, I say that on a podcast, people who take this very seriously are gonna, like, I don't know. It's a one opinion thing, and immediately you're like, I don't want to listen to this guy anymore, and you move on. But what if there's someone else who says, what? No, dude, like, that movie sucked, bro. Then you have people saying, like, hey, I like this guy. I like this other guy, Who's this? This other guy is cool. I agree with more of his, So it no longer becomes this thing of like, oh, I'm just going to spread hate comments on this guy. Now it's just like, yo, I could agree with one of them, and this is fun to watch because they're not arguing with each other to the point where they're killing each other. But it's a fun debate between friends, and
I think as long as I've known you, I've found that we've had pretty opposite opinions with a lot of the content and a lot of the nerdy stuff. I know I make a lot of jokes about heroes and villains alike, but it's honestly, it's nice to have that yin yang balance.
Yeah,
and I think we really have that going.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And again, going forward, you guys will see that, like, me and Michael definitely aren't very, like, I mean, I've had conversations with people who, like, even just about nerdy stuff, who will, like, want to start a whole argument about it, and I'm like, dude, like, it's not that serious, man, you know? But I mean, I get it. Some people are more passionate about these characters and certain storylines, and it makes sense. But no, yeah, me and Michael have a pretty balanced conversation about it, and it's pretty fun because we shit on each other's opinions, you know, and a lot of times it could be fun. But yeah,
it really is.
Nerd enough. Yeah, it's been so. Why nerd enough? You know, I didn't come up with the title. I'll be honest. All credit goes to my cousin Angel. I know he's going to be listening to this. All credit goes to him. We were actually trying to find the title to this podcast. We wanted, back then, me and my friends were, I was a constant, committed churchgoer. Still a believer, but, you know, that's not what this is about. And so we wanted this to be like a Christian-based, like, podcast where we, you know, Christians who are nerds. So we wanted to call it Heroes, but like he dash rose, you know, like Jesus rose from the grave, and
right, I like that,
the real
too.
Hero, you know. And so
yeah,
that was the original title. It's pretty cheesy. It's so cheesy.
That's clever, though. That's actually really clever. I like that.
Yeah, it's super clever, but it's super cheesy also. As much as I wanted to you know, I was very vocal about my faith back then. I felt like it wouldn't be much of a grab. There would be people who were going to resist from this. And so I'll be honest, and this is where the true title comes in. I don't know a lot about comics. I have read The Amazing Spider-Man up to number 130 something. I was so oblivious to the main comic world. I know some of the storylines, and I know a few, like, things that happen in the comics, but I'm not like, oh yes, an issue so and so and so, that's how this happens. I pretty much learn as I go, or I'll learn from videos like New Rockstars or I don't know, just different YouTube channels that I'll learn my comic book, you know, info from, and that's how I learn. I didn't grow up reading comics, and so I feel like I'm gonna be heavily judged when I don't know something, and so and Kenny was saying the same thing. Like, yeah, I feel like if we make it too nerdy, people are gonna expect us to be like, you know, like experts and philosophers in the comic book world, but we're not, you know. But I feel like we're nerd enough to talk about it and blah, blah, blah. And we were just going on. And then my cousin just stopped us and he's like, well, why don't you just title it that? And we're like, what? That, Nerd Enough. Like, that's it. Like, it's perfect, you know? That's a perfect title for two people who just love talking about these comic book movies or the comic book universe, games or whatever. But you're not 100% nerds, but you're nerd enough to talk about it. You're nerd enough to just be a fan, and nerd enough to be part of this community that honestly is just filled with people just like us, you know? It love for these characters who these artists intended to be like. And it's hard to be an expert in everything, but we're nerd enough. So that's pretty much what this podcast is all about. You know, we're nerd enough to talk about it. You don't have to be a crazy expert, and don't expect any. If you do hear news from us, it's gonna be delayed. Like, you'll probably hear it from New Rockstars Emergency Awesome first, and then we'll talk about, oh, did you watch that video? You know, like, that's pretty much what it's gonna be. And I'm happy because I feel like that there's gonna be. I feel like we have so many people out there who are just like us, who are afraid to take that step or voice their opinion because they feel like they're not nerd enough for the community. But the truth is, this community is meant for. I mean, it's a nerd community. You're a nerd. I'm a nerd. We're all nerds. Like, it's.
I want to bounce off that real quick. You know, everything we say in this podcast when it comes to DC, Marvel, horror, Star Wars, whatever we talk about, you know, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. You know, we don't know everything.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so special. And there are people that know more than us, and we know that. And so, the more we build this podcast up, the more we're going to understand, the more we're going to know. And yeah, you're right. We're not going to be able to get to all of the news as quick as all these other corporate.
Definitely not.
But, this is a passion project for you, a passion project for me. And we're excited for something so amazing universes that we get to dip our toes into. So, I think knowing what happens on page 13 of comic 31 of the Amazing Spider-Man isn't as important as, I would like to think we're a couple steps above casual watchers of all these universes, but we know a lot still. We have strong opinions, real strong opinions on certain aspects of the nerd universe.
Definitely.
But everything we say we might mess up a couple facts. Just take it with a grain of salt.
Oh yeah,
and just have fun with us.
Yeah, and kind of bouncing off what he said is one thing that I'm looking forward to is apart from just seeing how this goes is I think part of the fun with this kind of podcast in comparison to people who know way more about the comic book world is that we get to conversate with you guys instead of you guys like maybe you might learn something but we get to conversate with you guys in the comments, and maybe that's something we can do later is like, oh, I read in the comments someone actually corrected me or gave like we'll ask a question and then it'll be answered in the comments and we could like talk about it in the next episode or whatever and so that's something that I'm looking forward to because we don't have all the answers and we probably won't. We're gonna and one thing that we also want to start doing is reactions to trailers, definitely Marvel series. You will be seeing reactions on here. This is our hobby. This is something we want to do as a hobby, something that we've been wanting to do for a long time. So with that being said, how did me and Michael meet? Well, here's where. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just gonna. I was answering a question. Where did we meet?
So I am a Twitch streamer, and I've been streaming for about. Well, I started in 2020, so it's gonna be. 3 years. I've been streaming for about 3 years, and I am partnered on Twitch. I didn't start off with. Okay, let me correct that. I started off with gaming, but that didn't really like last for a very long time because that was on a separate channel, and then I started doing ASMR. I dabbled with ASMR for about a year, and I know to some people that might be very surprising. So I stuck to it and ended up getting partnered after a year, but I had the desire to go to do more. I didn't want to be known for just ASMR, so I switched my name to TCTV, and I started doing more horror. Started getting into Dead by Daylight, which is the game that I mainly play now. Actually, as we speak, by then I'll probably be done filming it, maybe. But as we speak, we're currently also going through Marvel Spider-Man 2. So I would say go follow us if you want to see, but I'll probably be done by then, by the time this episode is out. But either way, still go follow. We have a good time. And within that time that I started playing games, Michael, aka Super Tux, just comes to my channel, and you're gonna have to explain this part because I don't remember when you came in.
Right. So it's hard to pinpoint it because I popped in for maybe 2 hours. This was when was this? This was 2.5 years ago, I think. I my timing could be off. And then ended up getting a new job, moving to a new house, raising my kids. And there was a big break, and then I ended up coming back. And then, 2 years ago or so, really started diving in and watching every stream. I don't even know how I found you. there's
What? You
people.
don't know?
I don't. That's the issue. The people I would watch on Twitch, we're talking. It's like it was Minecraft. I'd watch on Twitch. I would watch Warzone. I would watch CS:GO. But it doesn't make sense. You just popped up. I do like going through the recommended streams. I don't think you're in the recommended. I also would like to pick out genres and go to like page 87 or as far as I can get and just find small people just because they're more inclined to talk to you. I believe that's how I came about you or found you, and it was DBD. You were still doing ASMR off and on more frequently.
Yeah, I think I would do it like twice a week or something.
And as much as I don't want to sound rude or anything, I personally don't like ASMR. I don't find it interesting.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's not for everybody.
I found someone that was passionate about a game I never played, and someone that was very responsive to chat, really entertaining. You would sing. You would have a bunch of cool people play with you also in the game. And so I stuck around, and you ended up putting out a mod application. I think I was in the community just enough to where it ended up getting looked at, and I don't even know how you went through the mod applications. I don't know how I made it. But from there, I just started growing in the community with you, and now I'm a household name, I think.
Yeah.
In your Twitch community.
Yeah, no, definitely. So to give a little more and to give my side of what he just said, not true. He was there for a while and was very active. I mean, like, was super friendly to people. When anyone would follow, he would welcome them. He knew all my commands and would just like try to drop them, and I saw he would try to do it and didn't have access to the commands, and I'm like, okay, he's the only person actually trying to help me. So right away I'm like, I know I gotta put out mod applications because I was in need of mods. The mods that I had at the time were like not showing up to stream, or they're also streamers, and it's like I don't like to mod streamers who stream constantly, because like streamers out there, you guys know what I mean. Like, schedules intertwine, and then it's like, oh, we stream at the same time, and blah 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 blah. Like, let me just VIP you, please. Like, like, don't feel bad. It's not that. It's got nothing to do with like, I don't like you as a mod or you're a bad mod. It's just, I'd rather have someone like, because it's stressful. When I'm mod for someone and I see they go live, I'm like, oh, dang it. Like, they're live right now and I can't mod. It's like, but which is why I'd rather people not mod me.
When you would go live, especially when you would go live, when I hopped in, you would go live at like my time. It would be 11:30, 12 o'clock at night.
Oh yeah, and for ASMR.
No, Dead by Daylight. I used to do like 11 o'clock for DVD.
Oh, okay, okay.
My time. This was when you lived in Cali.
Yeah.
And so that was 2 hours behind me. Yeah. And there was, when you got modded me, it was fun in the beginning. It's still fun, but
the truth comes out.
I would fall asleep, and I'd get the notification, Tony's gone live. I'm like, oh man, I just fell asleep. Come on. But I'd hop in, and I felt like I built up some confidence. I became a mod. I didn't really even hop into voice chat for that much either until I became mod, and didn't play DBD, but whenever you played some other games that I liked, I would play with y'all. Movie nights, really liked movie nights. I tried to make as many as I could. But I enjoyed modding. I enjoy it now. I'm excited to see where you are moving towards in Twitch.
Oh, we're not talking about that. You gotta talk about that, bro. It's funny because we're talking about all this like movie nights, community, and people are like, "Wait, he's got like a full-on community." It's like, no, let's not talk about that.
Well, let me back up. Let me explain what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I'm excited for what we're doing now, Nerd Enough, what we've started.
Mm-hmm.
We can't review games if we don't play them.
That is true.
Your streams are going to be, as much as you love DBD, and it's gonna. I see it backing down from DBD and going towards more of the nerdy stuff. And I'm excited to see you play gameplay. I'm excited to hop in and start playing games on Twitch also.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Where you're growing towards.
Yeah. Okay. No, and for sure. I mean, and don't get me wrong. Me and Tux are gonna use this platform definitely too. You might hear us promote our Twitch. You might see, and we will put it in the links in the description down below, because if you guys want to see more of like, what is Tony like, on Twitch, like I do play horror games, and in fact, the game that me and Tux play the most together is either Fortnite or Demonologist. And I mean, we will spend so much time on Demonologist. Like, we have a good time. So like, no, definitely go follow our Twitch channels. You guys are welcome. We don't have an official Nerd Enough Discord yet. Eventually we will. But if you guys do want, I'm not gonna put my Discord in the link in the description down below. But I will put my Twitch channel, and if you go to my Twitch channel, my Discord will be there. So I'm just gonna leave those two separate. But if you guys do want to hang out, movie nights, all that shebang that we just talked about, it will be there. So anyway, that's how me and Michael met throughout the last 2 years. We've been gaming together and building this friendship where every time we game, we realized that we had this love for comic books and these characters. And so and in doing so, we've learned that we have very similar opinions, but we have a lot of different opinions as well.
We do indeed.
A lot. And so and with that being said, we're going to go into like, I think our next topic would be like how what is our history with this universe of comic book stuff, and what are we into? That is the next thing. And I'm gonna let Michael answer that first, since I already pretty much talked about my Nerd Enough being my baby and how all this came to me. So go ahead, take it away, Michael.
Yeah. Where do I start? I fell in love from the very beginning. I always went to the movies with my family. I grew up in a large family, and every Saturday we'd go to the movies. Sometimes it was a kid show, other times it was Marvel or DC, and even Star Wars. So I was put into the nerd universe, the comic book universe, pretty early in my life. But no, I was just a casual watcher. When you're young, at least for me, when I was young, I really didn't pay attention too much to what was on a page of a comic book. Realistically, the only comics I really ever read were the Groot comics. And from there, and from there, I started reading comics later on in my life. Really started watching YouTube videos, breakdowns of comics versus movies. But when it comes to Star Wars, I've seen every single Star Wars in the movie theater. And it's insane, because the very first Star Wars that came out was, I guess maybe I didn't see that in theaters. Well, I have when they replayed it.
Wow.
I'm not that old, but when they replayed it in the movies, my family was not a nerdy family, but they loved going to see the movies. They were casual watchers. I just fell in love throughout the years of it's nothing special besides I enjoyed it so much. Star Wars, really probably the universe I know the most. Marvel, probably second, then DC. But there are certain characters in each universe I fall in love with, and I love. I don't know. I think when it comes to like the nerdy aspect of it all, like I know so little, and I love to learn about it though. Mm-hmm. And you won't hear all, like I was saying before, not going to hear this what page this stuff happened on in each comic,
yeah.
but you're gonna find out that I get really giddy on every single movie. The movie could be complete trash, but in that moment, I feel like a little kid just with candy, sitting in the movie. And then when you walk out of the theater and you have time to process it, sometimes it even takes me two visits to the movie theater to understand what I'm watching and break it down. But at that first watch for every movie, I think at every scene, I just love it. I feel like a kid in the candy shop, and I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
When it comes to nerdy things, I think I've grown to know what Tony won't like. And so that is that is my favorite thing is stuff he doesn't like.
That's so random. We're not even talking about that. Fair enough.
And I think that's where I think the very first one of the nerdiest things we talked about was Aquaman and your hatred for the new Jason Momoa, and so I usually start with that whenever I want to talk nerdy with him, and I know he hates it, but I love it. No, but now that I have some little nerds of myself, 2 kids now, gonna be 3.
Yes, hell yeah! Congratulations on the new baby.
Thank you. I get to show them these universes. My 2 little boys have already been watching Rebels, Star Wars Rebels.
Yes,
they've already seen the Clone Wars. My older one, Noah, he's already seen all the Marvel movies. I get to share the experience I had in movie theaters with them right now. And I get to explain to them why I love it, and hopefully they'll grow up and get to understand the deep love I have. And they won't be so attached to YouTube.
Heck yeah, man. I love it. He's doing parenting the right way.
Right.
Definitely. All right, so let me ask you this. Who is your favorite superhero?
In a universe?
All time favorite superhero.
Okay. Well,
why are you thinking about this? Why this should be a one answer thing, like immediate answer.
And here's why, because I think when you put up DC versus Marvel, they have such great characters in their own aspects, but
yes,
I can't just pinpoint one.
Yeah, you can.
Oh no, I can't.
Hold up. This whole time you're telling me that you don't know if you have a favorite superhero, like
an all-time favorite,
all-time
one
favorite
over
superhero.
No, I don't. And I could say Aquaman, but it's not that.
You're just saying that to fuck with me, dude. No, I know Aquaman ain't your favorite superhero.
No, I think it has to go back to one of the latest childhood memories is Groot. Groot comics. He came to Earth. He came to there to destroy it and to get it ready for King Groot and to take it over. But then he had a heart. He found Rocket. It's such a simple story, but such a cool. And also, we've got to see him grow in the Marvel universe.
Guardians, yeah.
Yeah, but then I could go to DC. It's such a hard. I can't pinpoint one.
All right. Okay. Let me make it easier for you then. Who is your favorite Marvel superhero?
Yeah, it would be Groot.
Groot. Okay. Who is your favorite DC superhero?
That would probably. Wow. Okay. I should have thought that.
Oh my god, dude! Why? Are you, this should be a one. You should know this.
It's not because I shouldn't know it. There's different universes. Yeah.
What?
Inside of DC, you have. If I go off, I don't want the cop-out answer saying Batman, but
but if it's your favorite superhero, you should be able to say it unashamedly.
Right. I love everything they've done with Batman, and it's not so much Batman and his origin story; it's the villains that they have in Batman, in Gotham City.
You're so complicated. Oh my god!
It's cop-out answer. It's bouncing on you. I already know your answer but I want to hear it. I want to hear why.
Okay.
The explanation. Your
Okay,
favorite,
okay, okay.
all-time favorite.
Okay. All right. So I'll start from the beginning, and I'll give you guys my history of how I got into all this. Just like Tux did, or just like Michael did. I'm sorry. So I grew up. I wasn't allowed to watch or get into superheroes because it was too much violence and they had godlike powers and there were false gods. Or I mean, my family grew up religious, and not the kind of religious where like, oh, we go to church every Sunday, you know. It's like, no, I'm talking religious as in the Pharisees that crucified Jesus, like, you know, like that kind of religious, you know. Only churchgoers will understand what I mean by that. But I mean, as a kid, I was blessed enough to have a mother who is super strong, amazing mother. A mother of 4, single mom. I mean, huge props to my mom. She raised 4 kids on her own and literally had no help. And it's just, man, I praise her for that. But she gave me an amazing childhood, and that's one thing that I will forever be grateful for, is that I had that amazing childhood of I know it's a little contradictory. A lot of you guys are like, how was it amazing if you weren't able to watch or like superheroes? Well, she blessed me with toys, and I was a very happy kid. There came a time when we started to kind of see that we were in this like kind of brainwashing religious kind of mentality where it's like it's not that serious, you know. They're just fictional characters, you know. They're not real. It's just make believe. And so finally I started getting into video games, and I'm not saying I was a gamer from an early age, because I didn't consider myself a gamer until the age of, well, actually till the year 2020 when I started streaming, which is why honestly, I didn't start playing games until 2020. I didn't grow up with a Nintendo. I didn't grow up with, you know, all these video games, which is why I feel like I missed out a lot. I remember watching the 90s series of Spider-Man, only snippets of it because I could only watch it in secret, as well as the X-Men series. And it was just, everything was done like in secret. But anyway, it wasn't until later on that I started, I think it was in high school, that I had a friend who would download comics onto his laptop, and he started, you know, sending me files, you know, PNG files. That's how I started reading all my comic books. And very early on, I just immediately fell in love with Spider-Man. I always felt like an outcast when I was in high school, and reading these comics, it's just like, I mean, I wasn't a nerdy scientist kid, but I definitely could relate in the whole, like, feeling like an outcast and feeling like I just I didn't fit in very well. It's kind of that thing where Peter, no matter how many friends he has, he just never fits in because he has this responsibility. I'm not saying I'm a superhero, but I'm just saying, like, eventually there was no one really that was into the things that I was into, which was at the time like choir and singing and music. And everyone had their own thing. And so that's where I kind of related to Peter. It's like, I'm an outcast, you know? And right. During the time when the Amazing Spider-Man franchise came out, they made that Peter so relatable. Look, say what you want about Mark Webb's Amazing Spider-Man franchise, it wasn't that great. However, it was the most relatable Peter Parker I've ever seen. Like, hands down. I think Andrew Garfield is an amazing, amazing actor and a perfect Spider-Man. But they did him dirty. Sorry. I'm getting into the whole nerd enough, you know, topic. But I'm just saying, that Peter, I related so much to that Peter because exactly what I'm saying. He wasn't real. I mean, he was smart. I mean, he was like what, top 2 in his Well, I think that's between him and Gwen, but he was either first or second in his class. According to Gwen, he was second. But I mean, I wasn't smart like that, but definitely, you know, the way you see him in the movie, like kind of just on his own, kind of just doing his own thing, was me in high school. And so I immediately started to really like who this character was, and not just because of that, but just the way he treated people, the way he was so selfless. I was like, I want to be like that, because I know I'm not like that, you know. And just the way he was always looking out for people and putting himself last. And so, yes, obviously, it's not that much of a secret. You can ask me, and I will give you an answer right away. My favorite superhero is Spider-Man. I mean, I got. You guys can't really see it, but I got like a samurai kind of Spider-Man thing. I got an Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man right behind me, signed by Stan Lee, by the way. That little signature you see under his armpit is Stan Lee's signature. I don't want to brag, but I will. I got to meet Stan Lee back in 2013. He was doing a concert in my small town of California, and everyone was like, Stan Lee's not going to be there. I'm like, bro, it's a concert. Daughtry concert hosted by Stan Lee. Like, how do you not think he's going to be there? All my friends laughed at me. It's like, nah, he's not going to be there. He's not going to be there. You're crazy. He's not going to come to Santa Maria. Bro, I am so glad I was there. This picture, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, I'm sorry you can't see it, but this picture was on the newspaper, okay, of Santa Maria Times, I believe, and I will forever be grateful for that. It is my all-time favorite story to tell of meeting Stan Lee, man. I mean, I walked in there with my little sweater, the onesie, zipped it all up. I had that poster, and then Amazing Spider-Man issue number 1, and I walked in with it for him to sign it. And he just he looks at me. I'm next in line. He's like, I know this guy from somewhere. I'm like, oh yeah, baby. It was so cool, man. It's an amazing experience. And I just got to tell him, like, thank you for creating this amazing character who I can relate so much to. And honestly, I forgot what he said at that point. I was just immersed.
And not only creating, but his favorite hero was Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he loved Spider-Man, you know. It was something that I forgot to leave out, which is, I can't believe I left it out. I did grow up watching Star Wars, however. The only reason why I was allowed to watch Star Wars was because my grandpa, my mom's dad, who actually just passed away, rest in peace. He was a Star Wars fan growing up when he was younger, you know, and he wasn't like a crazy nerd about it, but he enjoyed watching the movies. And so my mom had that, you know, she was like, okay, you know, this is science fiction, obviously, definitely not real. And so I was allowed to watch Star Wars. So that I was, became a big fan of, and I mean, I remember going to the library, and every one of my friends at in class in 4th grade was getting Goosebumps and all these other books. I was getting Star Wars books, the Legacy ones. No, not Legacy.
Encyclopedia, like of Star Wars.
What are they called? Legacy? Legends. Star Wars Legends.
Legends, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, that's where I learned about Mara Jade and Jason and Jason and is it Jaden or Jaden, something like that. But like the twins, and I mean that storyline is how I knew the sequels. We're not going to talk about that because that's a very sad story.
That's a whole episode.
It's a whole episode that we'll get into later. Yeah. But Star Wars, I definitely grew up with, and I love it. And I'll tell you guys what, just like Tux, Star Wars is the thing that I know of the most, and I geek out the most. But that being said, that is my history of my nerd journey, and definitely Spider-Man being my favorite superhero. I do have a favorite DC superhero, which is the Flash. He's the fastest man alive. Okay. I won't talk about the movie and how disappointed and sad I was about it, but we'll save that for another time.
Right. I have a question for you. Then you brought up Star Wars, and you know the most about Star Wars. As you asked me, my favorite superhero. Who is your all-time favorite character in Star Wars? The whole. It could be Legends. It could be canon.
So it doesn't have to be
One.
canon.
No, it does not have to be canon.
Oof. Okay. Well, this. I mean, oh god, the universe has expanded so much, and it's. It used to be. I'll tell you what. It used to be Starkiller, but as time. I mean, I remember playing those games, and I felt like the most powerful Jedi in the entire galaxy. It was amazing.
Because he was.
But let's be honest, he's OP.
Yeah,
he's super OP. And now that I'm older and I see it now, and I think I watched someone play it for the first time recently. I was like, oh my god, like it's so much, dude. It's so much. So
it's funny how people thought he was gonna be in Ahsoka.
I know.
Like, it's
even I believed it for a little bit. Even I'll admit, I believe it said Sam Witwer. The credit said Sam Witwer.
It did. It was just the voice of.
But I gotta say, dude, I'm gonna say Anakin Skywalker, man. I love Anakin Skywalker. Yes, he is an annoying little brat. You know, like it's not fun to listen to at first, and when you go through his journey, it's like, damn, Anakin, just man up, bro. Stop whining. You know, it's like, but you gotta let's be fair. I mean, his mom was killed and tortured by sand people, and all he wanted was to free her, you know, and he didn't get that chance. I mean, he technically did set her free, but to her death. So I mean, that's tragic. That's tragic, bro. So yes, I understand him whining about slaughtering them like animals, but it's just annoying to listen to, you know. But anyway,
but he whines about sand. He whines about sand racing,
too, yeah,
you know.
But man, it's just what came from him, his legacy, and
we're still building upon it, which is insane.
It's still going on, man. It's just like one of my favorite moments is between him, Vader and Obi-Wan in the Obi-Wan series, where you could see Anakin's face, you know, when Obi-Wan, like, you know, kind of ripped it in half, right? Or pretty much hit a hole through it, burned a hole through it with his saber, and you see the blue of Obi-Wan's lightsaber shining through Anakin, and he's telling him, "You didn't kill Anakin, I did." And then it goes red. And it's just like you see, it's almost like you see the relief wash over Obi-Wan. It's like, wow, it wasn't my fault, because he was carrying that burden for so long. It's like, this is my fault, you know. He, you know, like
that light color, the changing of the light wasn't on purpose. It wasn't even in the script. It just kind of happened with the first run through of it.
For real?
And then they leaned into it when they saw how cool it looked. Yeah,
that is amazing, and that's the beauty of all this filmmaking, bro. It's like, when things just happen, you're like, whoa, let's keep that, let's do that, you know, let's run with it. And that's amazing. That's one of my all-time, dude. I get chills just talking about it and thinking about it. It's like, you know, you didn't kill Obi-Wan. I mean, you didn't kill Anakin. I did, and it's like, Obi-Wan, but not only is Anakin confirming, or not Vader confirming, that's like, yeah, there's no hope in me, and I'm only Vader. But there's two things happening. There's the confirmation that's like, no, you can't turn me. Like I'm Vader. I killed Anakin, you know. And then there's another side where Obi-Wan is almost like, you see this burden fall off of him, and he's like, wow. Like, it wasn't my fault. Anakin really did or Vader did kill Anakin, you know? And it's just like, it's just such a poetic moment, because, I mean, that's how it was interpreted for me, but that moment was just interpreted for so many people in so many ways, and it's just like,
I was just about to say, I saw it in a different way. I did see it at the outcome of him having that burden taken off him, but at the same time, the color switching, there's still conflict inside of Vader. There's still Anakin is still in there.
Yes,
Still in there, and it switched and it went to red, and but all Obi-Wan had to hear was, "You didn't kill, I did." So it was, as crap as the show was. Like,
oh god,
I feel like that moment really made the whole show.
Well, it's those moments. There are a few moments where I'm just like, this is the show, and then Reba comes in. But anyway, yes, Anakin / Vader would be my favorite characters. What about you?
Very nice. All right. He's not as big as Anakin. He wasn't even really a thing in the. It's Han Solo. Han Solo is my favorite. And this is just as like a couple years ago.
Interesting.
It switched. Yes. And it's really the relationship between Han Solo and Leia.
Okay.
There's like this tough guy who really has no love, and then you have this tough woman who really doesn't need a man in his life, but they coexist and they love each other. That's my wife and I.
That's so sweet.
I
love it.
And that's it's cheesy and stuff, but Han Solo, and he was Luke's best friend, and my brother's favorite character is Luke. So it all kind of fits in together.
I love it.
Not as in depth as Anakin doesn't have.
Can we just all agree that your answer was way better than mine, bro? Holy shit! I'm just like, yeah, Anakin, because he's a badass and he whines, and you're like, yeah, I love my wife, and I'm just better than you in every way, man.
No, we hate each other, but we love each other at the same time. Like, it's just that love hate.
I love it.
And that just comes with the years. Yeah. No. So, stepping back a little bit to Marvel and DC, I love Marvel and DC so much, but man, Star Wars just takes the cake for everything.
Look, especially at this point where the MCU is, if Disney was to say, all right, like, we'll give you all the deeds on what's happening with Secret Wars, and we'll give you all the fan service. We'll bring in Doom. We'll bring in the perfect cast. We'll bring back Tony Stark. We'll bring back Chris Evans and all that. We'll give you guys the movie you want. Or would you rather have another Star Wars movie? I'd be like, yeah, Star Wars. I would 100% be like, yeah, just give us another Star Wars movie, man. I don't care. And for all of you, like, Disney Star Wars haters, like, don't get me wrong, I understand why you guys hate it. I'm not here saying that Disney Star Wars is perfect. I'm not here saying that I love Disney Star Wars. In fact, I have a lot of gripes with it, and I'm not really a huge fan of the sequels, and wasn't a huge fan of Obi-Wan, but man, when it comes to Star Wars, my love for Star Wars is like, I mean, I hate to say this, but Disney can shit out another movie and I'll watch it. Like, take my money, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
because I love Star Wars, and that's just the truth. Like, it's just my love for it. I'm gonna defend it, and it's just like I'm sorry, but I'm a bitch for Star Wars, man, and it's just how it is.
So 7, 8, 9 is, it is what it is. We got what we got. Yeah. But when they announced the Rey movie, I was excited. I was like, what?
Me too. I'm excited to see it. I want to see it.
Like, there's still more story to be told.
Exactly. And who knows? Maybe it'll redeem everything.
It doesn't need to.
No, I don't know.
There's so much we dive into each universe, but Star Wars takes the cake for everything.
Yeah. And sorry, go ahead.
I was just, it's the most I know. Uh, I have these things that I love for each universe, but Star Wars is just everything I love. I don't care who the character is, how small, how big they are. Even the small characters in Star Wars are still big to me. Um, Max Rebo, for example, badass little blue dude, blue alien, but still.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is gonna be. So I'm gonna ask you one more question. This is probably gonna be the last topic that we talk about on this episode.
Okay.
So one more question is, how does all this nerd stuff, this nerd universe, how does all this fit in your life now? Now that you are a dad, you are a husband, and a working man.
Right.
You got your struggles and everything. Like, where does this fit into your life now, and how does it still fit into your life and not? And because there are things that we cut out of our lives because they're just not like, it's like, well, I can get rid of this because it's not helping me in any way. Why is this still part of your life? You know?
Right. And so, film, movie, storytelling is a sanctuary for everyone. It's somewhere where you can go and you can just feel at home, feel safe. And that's all I want for my kids. I want my kids to come home, feel happy. And so I can show them stuff I can show them stuff I grew up with, stuff I love. And then there's new stuff coming out they're going to want to go see.
Mm-hmm.
It's evolving, and it's going to be, they're going to love it. And they're forced to. But
Yeah.
This is kind of a little bit off topic, but I was watching Wonka a couple days ago with my older son, and the Aquaman trailer came up. He's like, "Dad, we should go see that."
Oh,
I kid you not, I teared up.
that's amazing.
Like he's starting to understand like what I love, and he's starting to love it at the same time. That's what I live for.
Yes.
You know, it's not my love for film and creative writing and everything will always be there. I get to share it with someone, so it makes it even more special.
Yeah.
No matter what's going on, you know, there's gonna be times where I won't be able to go to the movies for a while, and maybe I have to wait till it comes out on Hulu or on a streaming service. Who cares? I still get to enjoy it and watch it. This, and after I'm dead, you know, when I grow up and get old, my kids will have their kids, and they can share this stuff with them.
Yeah.
By then, we don't know where Star Wars and Marvel is going to be at, but it's not just the nerdy stuff. It's film and storytelling all together is a safe space. You know, it builds conversations. It builds who we are. If you would have asked me 20 years ago, like, what do you prefer, you know, anime, nerdy stuff, or football, I would have given you football, but secretly, let me like this nerdy stuff, because it was frowned upon. You know, you were called a nerd. You know, you liked anime, you liked Marvel, DC.
Yeah.
But now it's like, now you're the outsider who doesn't like it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's always evolving, and it'll always have a place in my home. You know, my wife isn't so much into this nerdy stuff, but she respects it, and she sees that the kids love it. She can go off and watch her Bachelor, you know, do what she wants to do, but you know,
oh man,
she respects what I love and what the kids are ending up loving too. So
I love it. That's amazing.
It'll always have a good place in my heart. So, with that being said, I do think that your answer is going to be even better. I want to hear it.
Well, I mean, it's almost along the same lines because, like, for me, like I said, growing up, like I didn't really, especially in high school, you know, feeling like I didn't have many friends. In fact, I was actually pretty excited to leave high school. When I finally did, it's when I started to make all my friends, you know, like going to church, like while I was while I was supposed to be in college, going to church is where I made all of my friendships, and my most closest friends are the ones that we were supposed to start this podcast with, and we grew to love these movies together and this universe that was being built, both Star Wars and Marvel and DC at the time, because I think during that time all the Zack Snyder stuff was going on, or his universe. And so, I mean, back then, this was pre-COVID, when movies would still do midnight premieres or like very late premieres, and I would wait in line at the theater like at 2 p.m. I would call off work and like wait in line, and the attendants would be like, dude, we haven't even made the line yet. I'm like, okay, I know, that's fine. Well, can it start here? Or maybe just move me where it's going to start, and they would laugh at me. And it got to the point where they would know me because I was there all the time. I would bring my laptop and I started watching the movie before that movie that I was going to go watch, And then my friends started joining me, and it was cool. And one thing that I learned about this universe is that it's what introduced me to my friends. There was other factors other than the fact that we were going to the same church, but it would cause us to bond and really hang out with each other and talk about stuff. Sometimes the conversation would get heated, but it was fun. And that was one of my favorite things about that friend group. And over the years, we kind of grew apart. We all got busy. They got married and started having kids, and I was kind of left behind in that section. And then something that I left out earlier, connected to my Twitch channel is that's how I met my girlfriend, is through Twitch. And as we started to build this long distance relationship, I was living in California, she was living in Phoenix, and it wasn't easy, but we built this relationship, and we would stay up on Discord calls watching. I introduced her to the MCU, and I would kind of walk her through. And at first I was like, man, she hates this. But every time I would go visit her and we'd watch a movie, I got to see someone, when I started watching those movies, it was kind of just like, oh wow, the next movie, oh dang, post-credit scene, you remember those feelings of getting, watching the post-credit scenes. Well, I got to see it in someone else this time, and I'm like, oh dang, this is a different experience. Right. And so getting to introduce someone else into this universe, and it was crazy because I remember during I also showed her I only showed her Daredevil. We did a recap of the other ones. We didn't really watch Jessica Jones or Luke Cage, but we watched like a recap of the whole series. So she knows about those shows, but we did watch Daredevil, which is we'll talk about it later, but my favorite show, one of my favorite shows of all time, Daredevil. So good. And I showed her that show. And so when we were watching She-Hulk, which unfortunately was a horrendous show, but the minute that Matt Murdock walked through those doors and seeing her excitement to see Matt Murdock, I was like, it made it so much worth it. I was like, yes, she understands now. She understands the feeling that I get when I see an Infinity Stone. It's like, back then, for us fans who were following the MCU, we see an Infinity Stone, we know what that means. Like, oh my god, we get excited. Or I think when they name dropped Spider-Man for the first time, like this random agent who said, oh, we got a guy who climbs on walls, we're like, oh, what is that, Spider-Man? It's like that kind of excitement, or the most recent post-credit scene. I won't give any spoilers, but by now you guys should have watched it. But the most recent spoiler in the Marvels, you see a character and you're like, oh my god, it's like that excitement. I saw that when Matt Murdock walked through those doors, and I saw my girlfriend's excitement to see him because she loved Daredevil. I was just like, oh man, it was this whole nother feeling of like, I get to share this with someone now. I got to share it with my friends and everything. But now, by the way, me and my girlfriend now live together in Phoenix. Now it's like wow, like it's just so crazy. I get to share this with her, and it's become so much more now. And now I'm looking forward to all that. Everything you just said is something that I'm looking forward to. It's like I get to build something new with someone that I love. And it's not just a way of making friends, which it is. This is how I bond. This is how I get to know people. And
Right.
This is much more than just some topic. It's more than just a show. It's more than just a movie. It's how I bond. It's how I get to know people. It's how I build relationships. And because yeah, you could be talking about Spider-Man for a solid hour, but then the next thing you know, you're talking about life. You're talking about finances. You're talking about things that your childhood, and you're like, wow, this started with a movie conversation, and it's just like, that's how life happened, man. And it's like these things, these movies, these shows, these games, they bring us together in a way that, like, I've seen time and time again it happen. And it's at first I thought my girlfriend was just doing this because she liked me, but now, I mean, she was the one who bought us the Marvel tickets to go see the Marvels, and I was like, oh, okay, like, heck yeah, let's do it. She bought me the PS5, and that's how I was able to. It was a birthday gift, and that's how I'm able to play Spider-Man 2. So it's just like I feel like she's part of this just as much as I am now. And by the way, for any of you wondering, she is caught up on MCU, Star Wars. I mean, and I'm not just talking episode 1 through 9. No, I am talking Rebels. I am talking Clone Wars. I am talking Bad Batch. Talking Mandalorian, Ahsoka. I mean, she has watched everything, and even all the X-Men movies. We finally went through them, and I think we're there. The only thing that she would really need to watch, if it goes anywhere with this, and I'm talking about Deadpool, it would be the Fantastic Four movies, but I don't think we need to watch them. I don't know. But other than that, I mean, we're officially caught up on everything. Even DC, she's watched. I had her, I kid you not, I had her watch both versions of Justice League. She sat through both of them, dude. She is a real one, man. And I'm blessed and lucky to have her in my life. Honey, I love you. But yeah, that is definitely my answer and where all this fits in my life, and so grateful
it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to be a nerd. It's so much fun.
It's crazy how we started out and it was like a first person look. We were looking through our eyes for the first time, seeing all these new films, new comics coming out, and now it's like a third person.
Yes.
We're watching over someone enjoy it, and it brings even more excitement to it.
And we get to see all those moments of like they don't know what's coming, and it's like post credit scene that we show them, and boom, they're like, oh my god! It's like, yep, it's so cool. So cool.
I guess with that being said, this is just our very first episode, just kind of introducing who we are, what we like. We have so much in store for Nerd Enough, and we're excited to share our thoughts with y'all. Down in the comments, we want to know some topics y'all want us to talk about.
Yes.
We want to know what y'all thought about this episode, and obviously, don't be shy. The comments are there for a reason. We want to know everything. If you didn't like the episode, let us know. If you love it, cool. If you want to pinpoint something we said wrong, go ahead. We're open to everything.
Yeah, if you want to bully us, that's fine too. We can take it.
Yeah.
Give us the comments. We're not teenagers on the internet. We're not kids. We can take it. Anyway, first of all, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you whether you were listening through any podcast channels, or if you're watching us on YouTube. And by the way, if you're listening to this on a podcast and you didn't know that there's a YouTube channel, we do have a YouTube channel where you can see what we look like, and you can watch us talk about all these topics. But if you're just driving or you're working, you want to listen to this while at work, then that's cool. But still, thank you. This is just the beginning. I'm excited to see where this is gonna go. It's my dream come true. And it's not perfect, but it's a start, and that's exactly what I think. Tux finally is the one who convinced me to do it, because there were some things that weren't to my standards, because I'm a perfectionist, and there were things that weren't to my standards, and he's like, dude, if you don't, this is why it's taking you so long to do this, because if you don't do it now, it's never going to happen. Think again, this has been in the making, a plan for me since Civil War. I'm not the Civil War, but like Captain America Civil War, Yeah. But
we started talking about this a year ago.
Yeah.
And, so
yeah, and so
I'm glad we have it now.
We're doing it, and yeah, I'm excited to see where this is gonna go. And anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Nerd Enough. This is just the beginning. I am excited to see where this goes. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or I don't know where else this is going to be on at the moment. I'm sorry. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave us a like, leave us a comment on what you're excited for, what kind of topics you would want us to talk about, what you want us to dive into, especially because we're late to the game, so yeah. What do you want us to do? You want us to do a recap of our favorite Marvel moments, of our favorite MCU moments, DC moments? Let us know. We're down to do it all. And reactions, I will say, when it comes to reaction videos, you won't be getting those on Spotify and podcasts. Those will only be on YouTube and gameplays, which we do have a gameplay coming up of me going through Spider-Man 2. And then later on, we'll find a game where Michael will do a gameplay. But anyway, all that will be coming in the future. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to do. We're so excited. Make sure you follow us both on Twitch. Our links to our Twitch channels will be in the description down below, and it'll be down here on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. But thank you guys so much. I am Tony.
And I'm Michael, and we will catch you all later.
On the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.